Hello and welcome to the Christ and Culture webcast. I'm your host, Taylor DeSoto. Today I wanted to provide an update on the channel, on my life, on my blog. For those that follow me, it's been a while since I've posted any real meaningful content. I think the last video I posted was of some video game that I wrote a guide to because I'm kind of a nerd at heart. But life update. Obviously, I'm in a new house. The Lord has provided a new house for me and my family, and that's been such a huge blessing. This is my new study. The guys at Agros Church and helped me move in and build these shelves and organize my books, and it was such a tremendous blessing. I love my church, and yeah, so it's a new house. That's the life update. Agros Church is doing really well. The We never really shut down for the lockdowns. We ended up meeting outside in the parking lot of our church for several weeks, and then we went to house church for a little while when the building that we rented out was actually closed. But we never really stopped meeting as a church, which was such a huge blessing, and I'm very blessed and honored that my church did that, because it was a really difficult decision that a lot of churches and pastors had to make. And so I'm proud of Pastor Johansson for really stepping up and making that decision. I think it was a faithful decision, and I think the Lord has honored it. So that being said, what is going to go on with this channel? What's going on with my blog? Well, firstly, with the channel, I have made a lot of commitments on this channel that I've never really been able to follow up with. So I'm not going to make any promises about this channel. I'm going to post when I feel like posting. I know that some people like to consume content via audio or video more so than reading, and I know my blog posts can be a little lengthy, but I might do a few walkthroughs of my articles on my YouTube channel occasionally, but for the most part, I'm going to stick to my blog, youngtextlessreform.com. And on that blog, kind of what I've been doing, I on my blog, my blog is about the Textus Receptus, about the modern critical text, about New Testament textual criticism from sort of a non-academic, non-scholarly sort of level, with a focus on the theology of the text, of bibliology, not so much examining variants ad nauseum. It's more so trying to comment on, well, what are the theological implications of these text critical activities and these text critical decisions and the product of modern textual criticism, as well as commenting on the actual theology that gets us to the TR for those of us that hold to it. So on my blog, the last kind of major thing I did before recently was really examine Mark Ward's book Authorized. Then I went into a series called Faith Seeking Understanding, which was the most recent article series that I completed, which was really addressing the question, what reason would someone have to read the Textus Receptus or adhere to it or become a traditional text advocate other than fundamentalism, traditionalism, or emotionalism, as James White loves to really found his argument on, that those that adhere to the traditional text are doing so out of a fundamentalist spirit, are doing so out of pure adherence to tradition, are doing so out of an emotional, kind of safety over science kind of situation. And so this brief series was essentially addressing what reason might somebody adhere to the TR other than those three kind of tropes. So I finished that one up recently. Go check it out at youngtextlessreform.com if you want to take a look. The articles are on the shorter side. Some of them are longer, but I've been known to write, 2,000-3,000 word articles. I've been trying to reduce the word count to 800 to 1,000, but I'm very verbose when it comes to writing. So the series I'm working on now is a tribute to Brother Robert Paul Wieland, who was really impactful to me when I became a Textus Receptus guy. I stumbled on his videos. I think I found him through confessional bibliology or something like that. And I found his spirit and his demeanor to be very, very charitable and appropriate. Though I would say he probably gave James White a little bit too much charity and grace. which praise God for that, I suppose. But I've never seen, the interesting thing about Robert Paul Wieland is he offered some serious critiques towards James White. He offered some serious critiques towards the modern critical text position, and to this day I have yet to see James White interact with any of Wieland's videos historically. Obviously I don't think now he would, but when Brother Wieland was still with us, I think that you would expect White to go ahead and go after him, but the only thing I really found was a blog post on Aomin from 2007 where White does kind of his normal sort of ad hominem thing. But that being said, I thought it would be really cool to give people more exposure to Wieland and possibly provide some commentary on why I think that his perspective is so powerful, and also add some updates to his arguments as the text criticism world has changed. Though what's really interesting, if you've read, all the text criticism stuff, and even back in 2013, 2012, Wieland had 2009, Wieland had a really, really mature perspective on the direction of textual criticism. He was well studied, and perhaps that's why White never interacted with him. But I don't know. I don't know because I wasn't around back then. I wasn't a TR guy back then. I didn't really even care about textual criticism back then. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why White never interacted with Wieland. But that's the article series I'm working on now, is really bringing to life his arguments into more polemic approach, because he was anything but polemic. Very ironic, very gracious, very, very had the most outstanding Christian character. And so I think it'd be cool to give people some exposure to his arguments. And that's what I'm working on right now. The next step right now for Dane and I, in terms of how we want to contribute to the text criticism discussion, has to do with a point that we made at the very beginning that we are seeing come to fruition in a very big way right now. Dane had made the claim that higher criticism and lower criticism were two sides of the same coin, that Schleiermacher was wandering the halls of our seminaries, and men like James White scoffed at that. He literally said, you'd think we'd know if Schleiermacher was wandering the hallways at our seminaries. And ironically, we are now seeing a lot of the postmodern kind of perspectives really taking over the evangelical text criticism world. There's prominent evangelical textual scholars who are really diving into a lot of the critical race theory stuff, who are diving into the Marxist protest movements right now. And I think that the iron is hot and we're going to strike it. So there's going to be a lot of hot takes coming out of that. I think that Dane and I have an interesting perspective, and we have some of the youth and energy to handle some of the criticism that of course will come. But I think it's a good time to really, when people are seeing the physical manifestation of bad ideas on the streets of America right now, to be able to understand how the textual scholars are doing something very similar with ideas. And it's made its way into our Bibles. And in a recent article I wrote, I said that what we are seeing on the streets with the violent riots and such is equitous with what we're seeing being done to our Bibles. So look forward to that. Look forward to some connections, to some lines being drawn, to just some casual conversations. There's going to be some cool podcasts coming up between Dane and I. We've been incredibly busy. Dane with his newborn, and me, new house, and everything with the lockdowns. There's just a ton going on, but we're going to try to really get back in the saddle and hit the text criticism discussion hard. So that's my life update. That's my blog update. That's everything that's going on. I hope to provide some helpful insight into the text criticism conversation from a sort of casual perspective, not an academic perspective, from a theological perspective. And I hope you guys enjoy it. So this has been Taylor DeSoto with Christ and Culture, And may the Lord bless you and keep you, and we will see you next time. Looking forward to what's coming up in the pipeline. Thanks, guys.